Hi, my name is Adriana and today I will be talking about my favorite author, James Rollins. So why am I making this video? Who is it for? What am I doing? I never know. But I am making this video because, like I said, James Rollins, one of my absolute favorite authors. I have loved so many of his works and have given him so many 5 stars, and you know, getting the chance to talk about something you enjoy is a good time. Who is this video for? I would say this is anybody who has heard me rant and rave about James Rollins before and is interested in trying one of his books. I will go through all of his books that I am aware of, where might be a good place to start if you are interested in trying them out, based on your own preferences. Basically, I had a guide to James Rollins in my dad, who would hand me certain books to read based on what he knew about my preferences. I am here to be that guide for anyone interested. James Rollins has been writing since the 90s, I guess 1999, technically the 90s, but he has written so many books. So there are so many options to choose from, and I could definitely see how that would be overwhelming. I had one of my good friends here on BookTube, Ruby, reach out to me, and I just kind of like told her to check out the website, but at the same time, it is kind of nice to have somebody talk you through it. So this one's for you, Ruby. Love you. So let's start with the man himself. James Rollins is actually a pen name for James Tchaikovsky. This is the disclaimer where I say he has another pen name, James Clemens, that he wrote a fantasy series under, and I won't be talking about that because I don't really know anything about it and really have no interest in reading it. So sorry if that's like your favorite thing ever, but I am just talking about the works with the names James Rollins on them. And I will continue saying James Rollins rather than James Tchaikovsky because, again, that's the pen name we're discussing here. So good old Mr. Rollins started his career as a veterinarian in Sacramento, had his own veterinary practice. Through interviews and stuff, definitely seems to be something he's very passionate about, but wanted to flip-flop his full-time job of veterinary work and his hobby of writing to be the opposite. So now he writes full-time and then dedicates 8 hours a month to spaying and neutering pets for a local shelter, which I love. I love. Something else I will say about James Rollins is that his social media presence is very bare bones, I guess you could say. Like, he doesn't really post a lot of like personal stuff. He'll post about like his dogs or like the weather around his house, but he pretty much stays away from like politics or anything controversial. And like, I kind of appreciate that. It's kind of refreshing because I have a feeling he and I wouldn't always agree on a lot of stuff, and I don't have to worry about it because he doesn't post about it. Like, he uses his platform to talk about his golden retrievers, and like, I can relate. Yeah, was I talking about you? Say hello! Say hello! Say hello! So with the why I'm making this video and the short little biography on the author himself, before I jump into all of the different books he has written, please consider liking and commenting on this video and subscribing if you like bookish things. So I am actually going to use his website to direct through all of the books so I make sure I don't forget anything because, you know, we gotta use our resources where we can. Up in the menu, he has books listed. And we will start with the most obvious series to start with, the one that really, where he made a name for himself, you could say, and that is the Sigma series. The series that is in the background of every single one of my videos, the series that introduced me to James Rollins, the Sigma Force series. I would say this is probably also the series that is like most active. He seems pretty consistent about getting a new one of these out every 12-ish months. So if you are interested in like getting into a book series where there is a lot of history and it seems to be consistently being updated, this is the one I would suggest. It follows a team of specially trained operatives under DARPA, whose job it is to protect new and emerging technologies in the world from falling into the hands of America's enemies. And so every book, there's usually some sort of like historical mystery mixed with some like cutting edge technology, and it's really fun. It like scratches this itch in my brain of like, I want a little bit of sci-fi sort of thing. I want a little bit of like historical something sort of thing. And I want a crazy spy thriller sort of thing. And you just get all of those. And it's so much fun and I enjoy them immensely. All the characters are really fun. Their interactions are really great. So if you are looking for a series that is very, very long. There are currently 17 books in the series, Tides of Fire being number 17, and the 18th book has been announced. It's coming out in August. It is called Archangel. I will obviously be picking this up and reading it. Keep an eye out for that. 17 full-length installment, 18th on the way, and then a bunch of short stories mixed in there. So fortunately, I think he's bound up basically all the short stories that he has written for Sigma Force in this unrestricted access book. But if you are looking for more, I guess, where each short story slots into the overall series, Goodreads actually does a fairly decent job at this. Lists out like the full length as well as the short stories with the signifier of like a half. The only one so far during my reread I've found that seems like it's out of order is Goodreads lists Kowalski's in Love, Sigma Force 2.5 as 2.5, and I think it slots in better as 3.5. I won't say why, but like just if you are doing your own reread, I would suggest putting in Kowalski's in Love after 3 and before 4. So what else do I have to say about this series? I really enjoy it. There are a lot of problematic elements with some ways women are portrayed, some generalizations about race and disability, kind of everything you could expect out of this kind of dad-lit genre. So just to be aware of said things before you go traipsing in. And I would say that probably it goes into most of his series. So that is Sigma Force. Huge, bombastic series. So much going on. Very, very fun. I adore it. But it might be a little bit intimidating to jump into if you've never read him before. If you are looking to just kind of like dip your toe into this kind of action, adventure, thriller thing that he does have a few like individual books that don't include the greater Sigma Force. So if we pull up his website, we can see the first one down at the bottom, Subterranean. This is actually the first book he published as James Rollins. So published in 1999, and we can kind of see he has quite a few of these individual stories that you could try, read a synopsis of, see which one kind of tickles your fancy. I will say Deep Fathom introduces a character that later gets involved in Sigma. So if you read Deep Fathom and really like a certain character named Lisa, then maybe you want to keep reading in Sigma and see what happens to her after the events of Deep Fathom. But like I said, most of these are just kind of like individual one-off adventures, very much in the vein of Sigma Force. They're big, they're bombastic, there's some sci-fi-ish. I don't know, what's the line between like sci-fi and like very current science? But it's fun. They're very fun. They're chunky, but like you read them quick. I think my personal favorite of the individual options is the Altar of Eden. I think anytime James Rollins gets to write about animals specifically, being able to draw off of his old veterinary experience, you get a lot of really fun ideas. If you are looking to dip your toes into James Rollins and don't want to try to get invested in a big old series, I would probably start with Altar of Eden. He also apparently did a novelization of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull that I will not be reading because that movie was trash. So the next series he has done is called the Tucker Wayne series. So far it looks like it's only 2 books. I don't know if he's planning on doing any more, and they're also a collaboration with another author, Grant Blackwood. So Tucker Wayne is a character that actually gets introduced into the Sigma Force in the reread I am currently doing, Bloodline, but this character gets their own little spin-off series. So I would probably not suggest starting with this because it is a spin-off series, but I would imagine it's written in a way where you don't have to like have read the past 8 Sigma forces to be able to understand these two books. So the next series he has listed is his Sanguines series with Rebecca Cantrell. I don't know anything about this series. It is not one I have ever read. I don't even know if I've really read like a synopsis of any of these books. I really have no idea what they're about. The covers give off kind of a creepy vibe, but as far as I can tell, these are fully in their own universe, have nothing to do with any of his other works, and have kind of a creepy vibe. So if that's your vibe, this might be a fun place to start. It's also co-written with a woman, so I would imagine a lot of his less great writing tendencies are probably smoothed over in some of these. I mean, once I'm done rereading all of the rest of the stuff I'm supposed to be rereading of his, I might dip my toes into this series. The next one listed is the Jake Ransom series. It looks like he, dipped his toes into the middle grade craze after Percy Jackson hit the scene. I haven't read these. I know my sister read the first one when she was a child of some age. I can't remember when exactly it was. The first one came out in 2009, so I was already like in high school, so I think it was probably not something I particularly wanted to read, and it's not something I have tried to read since. But, might be a fun thing to check out at some point. Again, kind of like looks like an adventure, probably not to the point of like adventure thriller because it is for kids, but kind of like an adventure story genre, historical something. I don't know, they look kind of fun. And then the last series I will be talking about is one I have actually read, and that is the Moonfall saga. Some more of these that are always in the back of my videos, but the first one is the Starless Crown, the second one is Cradle of Ice. The third one has not been announced yet. Originally, I thought these were going to be a trilogy, but it seems like now he is planning on continuing the story into more books, which is always fun. These, as opposed to like the rest of what he writes under this pen name, these are epic fantasy. Like, these are high, multiple POV, alien-ish creature, not of this world fantasy with a capital F. So if that is your vibe, I would recommend these. I have a very, very good time with them. I think probably my best selling point for this book, or I guess this series, is he takes all of his experience as a veterinarian, his education in evolutionary biology, and just goes ham. Kind of the shtick of this world is that it doesn't rotate on its axis, so one side gets scorched, deserty, way too hot. The other side gets no sun, is cold, wintry, can't live on it. So you can't live on either side. There is a small livable band in the middle where people and creatures and stuff can actually live. And he went as far as to commission an artist to like draw out different creatures that would live in this world. There's a couple of these. I'm trying to find all the rest of them. But he is so good at like coming up with and describing these creatures and what they would look like and how they fit into the ecosystem. And especially in this one, we start getting like outside of the livable band, and we get to see like even more creatures and how they interact with a very harsh environment. So I really like this series, and if you want to get in on like somewhat of the ground floor of what is probably going to be a full-length series and something he is going to finish, I would assume, this would be a great place to start because there's only 2 right now instead of 17. So that is all the James Rollins things I have for you today. I will probably make some sort of an update to this video if I ever manage to read all of his bibliography. But for now, that's all I got. Please let me know what series you would be interested in starting or any of his individual adventures you would be interested in reading. And thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.